Welcome, Bandile. How are you doing today?
How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. It's so good to see you. I'm so sorry for any inconvenience, but of course, it's so good to, of course, have you here with us. But just to start the conversation for this particular afternoon, can you tell us, and especially the listeners, what motivated you to embark on this journey and walk in the shoes of Palestinians for 3 months?
It was a need. I think it was, one of those things when the universe points you, it's a mission that you need to accomplish. I'm saying this because I applied to be part of this group of going to accompany Palestinians. I think that was in like 2018, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm lying. It's around, but it's like 5 because I got a response 5 years. Because after I applied, it was covered. And then after 5 years, I get a response. I was actually working to say that am I still interested? And I was like, it's a once in a lifetime
opportunity.
I had to choose my balances and resign work and go and join. What motivated me to go is it's not every time where you are recognized to do something. I felt like there is a need why I needed to go. Then exactly when I went there, I realized why I was the chosen one to go there at that time.
Absolutely. I want to hear more about, your experiences, but of course we're going to get through that towards the interview as well. But what were some of the most significant challenges you faced during, of course, your time with the Palestinians, and how did you overcome them?
Firstly, it's the change. Besides just the weather, but besides the weather change, which I got sick, it's the change of adapting into a new culture. Because when you go to another country, you're going there to learn about their culture, their beliefs, and all of
their
that
traditions.
So moving and I'll tell you one thing: Palestinian culture is very respectful. It's totally something different from where I come from in South Africa. How you dress up and stuff. So those are the big changes I needed to adapt to, and also how you greet, how you sit. That was a lot. But moreover is to move from. I'm saying this but moving from a very democratic country to an undemocratic country. What you say, what you do, it matters. Your rights, you're going to now, you're changing to understanding that I don't have rights. That was a huge dramatic change that happened to me.
Absolutely. Now I hear you speak about dramatic change. What did you notice? What was the one thing that stood out for you that you were like, oh my God, so is this how it really is when you were there?
It's the arrest. When you speak about rights, people can take this. I've never lived in the apartheid era, but my 3 months in Palestine, I had to experience what apartheid looked like, or it was. Out of nowhere, I had to carry a passport everywhere where I go. It's reminded me of what you read, the carrying of dompas. There's borders, not really like borders, like physical borders, but there are walls. I got to experience, going to a checkpoint and signing, because there's a certain area that Palestinians go to. And yes, remember the difference is that Israel can go anywhere, but there's a place that Palestinians can go to and they cannot. And the hardest experience that I experienced is that Palestinians can be arrested anytime without anything. What they say, maybe they are passing, they're going to say something, and they can be arrested. Being arrested just for carrying a Palestinian flag, going around with a Palestinian flag, you get arrested. So you don't know when are you going to be arrested. And earlier I spoke about the rights of people. in South Africa, you know that you are arrested for 72 hours, you need to go to court. There you are put in, there are people who are arrested and they're still in administration, have not even went to court to seek bail. And they've been there for a period of 6 months. After the waiting period is 6 months. After 6 months, it can be renewed for further investigation. You can even stay there for 6 years. You still have not even went to court. So, and kids as well. How can you arrest a child just because, and accusing them of stoning just because they threw a stone? You have this mob of Israel police coming to attack a child. Like sometimes they're even arresting, coming in their numbers just to arrest a 10-year-old child. You know, it's became so frustrating and stressful, and you have to just turn a blind eye, not really a blind eye, but all we need to do is just, our task was to observe, document, come back to our home countries and spread the word. I'm an activist, but here I am expected to be quiet. You know, sometimes I'll go to bed crying, you know, because I felt like I'm in prison, or I don't have a voice. I can't move. I can't shake. You know, if you are like in one of those bad dreams where you are suppressed and you're pressed and you can't breathe and you want to scream, that experience I felt.
You know, just you speaking about that experience just gives me goosebumps, because imagine you were there in Palestine and you were feeling so helpless. So imagine the rest of the world who, you know, obviously wants to speak out and do all of these things. Imagine how the rest of the world feels, you know, as if you captured almost. And it's a really sad affair as well. And we know that it's exactly a year of genocide that's been taking place in Palestine. Tell me your opinion on that.
It's a year. I would say it's a year of celebrate. We need to celebrate at some point. One of the things I love about Palestinians, you know, when something bad, you'll find that something bad, they're being attacked and stuff, or someone died, you'll find the woman said, Inshallah. And at some point I ask, what does that mean? Like, if God allows. And they said that with a smile. So every bad situation, they try to change it to a positive life, because all their lives are full of bad environment. So they needed to celebrate the little that they have. So 1 year into genocide, what is there? So it's not the time for us to mourn. Yes, we've lost our loved ones. I've also lost a friend, Wafa, from Gaza. But this is not the time for us to cry. It's time for us to celebrate the resistance of Palestinians, to say that they are still standing. They are, because I was just looking at one of the videos. There was a Palestinian in Gaza that was getting married. It was a very happy wedding, despite whatever the rain, but they still find something to celebrate. But we need to celebrate. However, in our celebration, we must not stop fighting.
Truly.
We must stand strong. The Palestinians are strong, but we need to be more stronger for them, because we are not there. We need to fight for them. That's what they wanted. That's what the message and instruction they gave us. Go out in your home countries and advocate for us, because we don't have rights. You have rights in your countries. Share the word. So right now we need to mobilize, unite, and put a stop to this. And that can only happen if we are united, because united we stand and divided we fall. For us to question, because the other thing is that while we are still fighting even amongst ourselves. Palestinians are fighting a deadly life. We are fighting a political life of saying who's right and who's wrong. There's a life that is someone is dying. Every minute, someone is dying. So it's not for us to question. For us, it's to call peace. Whatever is there is going to be discussed. But for now, is to end a ceasefire. Is to stop the violence, stop everything. And then come to negotiations. And then we'll discuss who was wrong, who was right. Now it's not the time to point fingers and add pour petrol to the fire.
Add fuel to the fire.
Exactly.
No, truly. And I think that the most amazing thing when it comes to the people of Palestine is their resilience and how awesome they are. Honestly, their iman, and they're it's just amazing to see, obviously. But I mean, you've been there for 3 months. How did, of course, your experience? How has it shaped you? Of course, you were there. You saw how it was, and but how did this whole experience shape you?
I don't know how to put this, but I think at some point, it almost made me heartless. At some point, it almost made me give up on religion. I won't lie, because when I was there, I asked myself, if God is love and love is God, then why Palestinians are living like that in a holy land? I started to question a lot of things because I'm a Christian. I went to the Jesus tomb. I looked and I questioned, this is where Jesus is, the Jesus that we pray to. If he cannot answer the people of Palestinians, who am I miles away? So, but when I came back, I had a deep briefing and I realized that the pastors are saying is something that was written in the Bible, but this is not a religious battle. The religious battle is there because the whole thing is to make us to be confused and start to question these questions and you forget the real cause. And so it did almost change me in that term. It almost also made me angry towards the police. I felt like everyone who was not everyone who was not in solidarity with the Palestinians was an enemy to me. So I didn't realize and see a need to educate, because I remember some point in my workspace when I was talking and there were some people saying, no, Palestinians are wrong. And I started to see them as enemies. And then I realized that my task is to educate and open the eyes, because some people are misled.
Absolutely.
They don't know the truth. So it's not for me to treat everyone as an enemy. It's for me to heal and then be able to educate other people.
Absolutely. Well, just to conclude the interview for this particular afternoon, I wish I could go on and pick your brain and ask you all your experience there. But what message would you like to convey to our listeners today?
I would like us to call for peace. That's the most important thing, is to unite and call for peace from all civil society, all faith-based organizations, every other sector that is there, government, that at least South Africa is trying to do something. They've taken the matter to court. Can we also unite and support and put an end to this and mobilize also other countries? You know that Mandela tried. And Mandela, the Tutus, they've tried, and they managed to stop apartheid. We also can manage. And the protester raised that Frantz Fanon said each generation have its own mission to fulfill it or to betray it. So let's us be the generation to say that we can point back and say that we are the ones that stopped the Palestinian the genocide in Israel. We are the one that stopped it. So let's claim it. Let's fight for peace. Let's fight to end it, so that when we look back in our history books, our names will be there to say that we stopped that war.
Absolutely. Bandile, thank you so much for joining me today on the show. And as we always say, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.